Aww. Are we live? Hi, everybody. Took me a second to get to you. How are you? I apologize that we're starting just a couple minutes late, but I'm so happy to see you. We are here for Cosmic Comfort, and what's beautiful is this is our 10th week we're going into Cosmic Comfort. I was going to do 7 weeks, and then everybody loved it, so we just keep on going. And so my goal with Cosmic Comfort is to sense into the energy field and kind of see what's coming up, what's going on. And I want to talk to you a little bit tonight about what I am sensing. If you're friends with me on Facebook, and even if you're not, it's a public post on my personal page, but you sort of got a little flavor of this from earlier. Hey, Athena, coming in from New Zealand. It's good to see you. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. I missed you today too, so much. And so I'm very happy to have you here. So we are going to, of course, pray and call in all of that divine healing energy for our planet tonight, but we're going to talk a little bit about anger because there are a lot of emotions being triggered in the field right now, okay? And I want to talk about why that might be coming up. And then, of course, communication is all sorts of messed up because of Mercury retrograde. Mercury won't go direct until the early part of September. And so it is a very challenging time. It's a very challenging time, but it's also, this is an opportunity, right? Anytime we're going through stress and duress, as I call it, it's an opportunity for us to learn more about how we show up to challenge in our life and how we can develop really good coping mechanisms and strategies to be able to respond. Because the reality is, I wish I could promise you a life of ease. I wish I could promise you that you'll never have a challenge. I wish I could promise you that, things would always go the way that you want them to. As a mom, I will tell you, that's always my wish for my kids, right? Is that I wish I could promise them that life will go as they desire and that they will receive everything that they seek in life. The reality is, they're going to hit roadblocks, you're going to hit roadblocks, and the most important thing we can do, the most important thing I can do as a spiritual teacher is try to give you some tools and things that you'll remember during the hard times. What's really a blessing for me is, people will come to me and say, when I was going through this thing, I remembered you saying this, or I remembered you saying that. And that's huge for me because I love knowing that I've given you some nugget, some word or phrase or concept or idea that you can take and move into your life with in order to, to create more stability and more structure and more peace for yourself. It's very difficult, but life isn't easy for anybody. One of my favorite quotes, truly, of all time is actually a quote from the Greek philosopher Plato. And Plato's quote is, "Always be kind, for everyone around you is fighting a hard battle." I have lived by that quote my whole life because I have always lived almost an invisible battle. All of the challenges in my life have not been visible to the naked eye. Isn't that an interesting life path? I've had lots of problems, but nothing that you can see. And so I have lived by this motto of always be kind because everyone around you is facing a hard battle. Okay, aho to that. So I'm going to anoint a little bit. I have my Cosmic Comfort perfume. If you're a perfume girl, get your favorite comforting blend. This one just does it for me. I anoint it with a little bit of patchouli because I just finished teaching the sacral and root chakra course on healing trauma at the sacral and root chakra and how that contributes to or impacts weight loss. So if you're interested in that, you can always go back and purchase the recording of that. We just came out of that. I want to tell you what stones I'm working with this week. And I want to talk to you about the elements, okay? Athena says, dealing with PTSD from past abuse, it seems to want to be seen and recognized in the moment. Here's my number one question for you tonight. And this was the question I posed on my Facebook page today. Here it is. Are you ready? And I would love for you to journal. If you take some of these questions I'm going to ask you tonight and start journaling about them, you're going to get some pretty profound data from your soul about what's going on. And so the number one question I have for you tonight is, what's coming up to be healed? When stuff is being triggered for you, it's being triggered so that it can come up and you can heal it. It's not being triggered so that you can push it back down and allow it to live in your body as disease. That's not why stuff comes up for you. Stuff comes up because it's ready to be healed. It's ready to be acknowledged. It's ready to be released. It's ready to be seen. And so your courage, and this is for real right now. Are you ready? Your courage in the form of willing to look, a willingness to look at what's coming up, a willingness to see what's happening in your life. And people can be really good mirrors for you. Okay, so if you hear people in your life saying, have you noticed that you are more agitated, or have you noticed that you are, being triggered more, or have you noticed that you've been more angry, or have you noticed that you've been more sad? In the past, I've even had an experience where one of my children came to me. This is years ago now, but I remember one of them coming to me and saying, you're usually so happy. Why are you so sad? And I thought, well, aren't you a fantastic teacher and a fantastic mirror, right? Kids often really see you for who you are, even before adults can sometimes. Because kids, adults, we're all so wrapped up in our own shit that it's really hard for us to see anybody else. Kids aren't. Kids are just in the moment, and they're acknowledging and witnessing and seeing, like they're just sponges of information. So sometimes they are really good mirrors of all the stuff that you can't see about yourself or where you are. So aquamarine is one of the most important stones you can work with when you are angry. Did you know that? The other most important stone you can work with when you are angry is rose quartz. I bought these pieces in Denver last year. By the way, if you're doing Denver Insider and you want like big natural gorgeous aquamarine or big natural rose quartz, I'm going to hopefully be bringing back some big pieces for you to meditate with. Aquamarine gets you back in touch with element water. Okay, when you are angry, I'm trying to show you the color of this because it's so beautiful. When you're angry, you're in fire. Okay, anger is a fire element mineral, or a fire element emotion. And so what do you have to do to balance fire? Really, one of the most important elements to balance fire is water. And so what you want to do when you're feeling all of that rush of anger or frustration, or just kind of instinctual responses, because any kind of instinctual response, I always say, ready, fire, aim, instead of ready, aim, fire. That's all fire energy, and water can mitigate the effects of that. So any piece of aquamarine in your collection, I like to work with natural stones when I'm working with stones as medicine. And then rose quartz is the absolute stone of love. There is no better stone for love energy than rose quartz. Alternatives, okay, lepidolite. I had these in the shop a while back, so if you got one, this is a good one for you to work with. Lepidolite is myconized lithium, and so it balances brain chemistry. It's really good for PTSD, anxiety, disorders of any kind. Bipolar disorder responds really well, because obviously any disease that responds to lithium is going to respond to working with natural lepidolite. And then the other stone that I like to work with at times like this is smoky quartz. We are frequently interrupted by sirens at Sage Goddess, as you know, so we send a prayer to whoever that ambulance is heading toward or traveling with. So smoky quartz, the legend around smoky quartz is that it used to be clear, but it turned brown because it took all the bad energy away from you and held on to it for you. I love that story about smoky quartz. Hi, Karen. It's good to see you, and with your hubby, too. That's very, very sweet. I love that. Beautiful. Kathy says, whatever I'm holding on to is showing up in the form of lower back and knee pain. Work with some bloodstone, Kathy. Lower back pain and knee pain, any kind of joint pain, actually responds really beautifully to working with bloodstone. If possible, make skin contact. If it's, I usually tell people if it's a place where you can put pants on over it or a pair of socks over it, or if you have a heating pad, you can put the bloodstone on your back and then put a heating, lay on a heating pad. That's going to help you a lot. And then the other stone that is really, really helpful, I have the most gorgeous apophyllite points coming to the shop in about a week, is apophyllite. You literally can't work with apophyllite and be angry. Apophyllite is the stone of divine consciousness. And so it automatically reminds you that you are part of the whole. And because anger is a very solitary emotion, people get angry most when they're alone, especially alone with their thoughts, or if they feel like they're alone or they've been abandoned. And so when you plug in to that collective consciousness, that universal consciousness, a lot of that anger energy gets dissipated. Amethyst is another great one. Absolutely beautiful to work with amethyst. I have amethyst right here, in fact. These are my big altar pieces, right? So this is called an amethyst flower. I'm hoping to bring these back from Denver too. It's got green amethyst on the base, almost like, a stem or leaves, and then purple amethyst as the flower on top. Isn't that cool? And that's how it grows in Brazil. It's absolutely breathtaking. Okay, are you ready? So good to see you. Okay, so we're going to be talking tonight about anger and about how to work with anger energy, and how to recognize that anger is actually a sign to you, and it can be medicine to you. So one of the things in our society, we struggle a little bit with anger, and we try to tell people not to be angry, not to feel angry. And what we should be doing is saying, acknowledge your anger and try to understand why it's appearing for you right now. What is your anger trying to teach you? What you are angry about right now, and I really want you to hear me on this. In fact, if you didn't hear a single other thing I said to you tonight, this is all that matters. Are you ready? What you are angry about right now is what is coming up for healing for you. Sorry, but it's true. That person who's pissing you off, that situation that has you frustrated, that boss you can't stand, that colleague who gets on your nerves, that injustice in the world that is mirroring your own sense of injustice, right? That trauma that you've experienced, that loss of an opportunity, of a partner, of an emotion, of your normal. Some of you have been writing in today. This is white sage, by the way, Salvia apiana, which is very important. You should always burn white sage before you meditate or do any kind of spiritual work. It's actually how Sage Goddess was born. That was the first thing. We have 4,000 products now on sagegoddess.com, but our first product was a white sage bundle. Those were our very humble roots 6.5 years ago. So, whatever's coming up, it's a teacher. Now you have two choices when that happens, okay? And by the way, a lot of the things that piss you off are pissing me off too. Am I happy about what's happening in our world right now? No. Am I also wondering, what we're going to do and seeing just a lack of clarity and direction? Absolutely. Am I absolutely furious about the way we are turning on each other and the fact that so much of the forward progress we've made as a country it seems to be rolling back, and there's nothing I can do about it. Am I absolutely angry about that? You better believe it, okay? But I will tell you that every single thing that makes you mad right now, even if you think it's a national problem or even if you think it's a cosmic problem, it's actually just a mirror back to you of some place in you, some trauma in you that needs to be looked at. And let me take it a step further. Are you ready? It's a mirror back to you, not just of the thing that's happening in your life or that happened when you were 10 or that happened when you were 5 or that happened when you were 1. It could be a much older wound than that, okay? It could be previous lifetimes. It could be karmic, all the way back in your line. So there could be things that are stirring your anger, things that you see, things that you experience that you don't even have a proxy for in this lifetime. You don't even have a precedent for it. So you're like, why is this even making me mad? But I'm so angry. That's your soul talking to you. Your soul also has its own repertoire of experiences, its own basis of understanding. And so your soul has its own ability to receive stimuli, to receive data, and to be able to recognize that as a mirror. And so sometimes you don't know, right? That's exactly right. I see you guys. And so, yes, so Layla says, how I'm never enough. Yes, I mean, all of that self-loathing and that self-hatred, which, by the way, you got to knock that stuff off, because any feelings you have around worthlessness, self-loathing, self-hatred, guess what? That turns into autoimmune disease. Okay, autoimmune disease is where your body turns on itself and rejects either your myelin around your nerves or your muscles or your large intestine or your small intestine. You got to knock that self-loathing stuff off, because it literally will start to show up in your body. So if you do no other thing tonight, if you can do me that huge favor, I'm going to be using the elements to call in all of those energies together so that we can cool, we can calm, and we can soothe, because of course the whole point of this meditation is cosmic comfort. Absolutely. Well, and so nobody likes anger, right? I mean, very few people say, yeah, gosh, I had a great day. I got so pissed off, at work, and then I came home and blew up at my spouse, and like, what a flipping great day today was. I've never met anybody who said that. So most people find anger to be outside of their comfort zone. And that's because we are spiritual beings having a physical human experience, and anger is not aligned to our highest vibration. If you're watching me right now, you are interested in spiritual development. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be interesting to you, right? So, and you're watching me and you're interested in this because you're trying to raise your vibration to help heal yourself, your family, and your planet. And so anger is a direct counterpoint, right? And yet, the most important thing to me is I don't want you to feel like, oh, I can't feel anger, or I can't deal with conflict, or I can't look at that part of myself that I don't like. You have to look at that, but then you have to release it and move through it. If you, like I said, if you hang on to anger, if you indulge it, if you dive into your shadow and you try to stay there, if you sit with that self-loathing and self-hatred and you allow that to fester, I promise you it shows up in physical form in ways that you would rather not experience, right? I don't think most people enjoy being angry. If you know somebody who enjoys being angry, maybe you can let me know who that is, because I haven't met that person yet. That's right, Michelle. Anger is a teacher. But anger is not a life partner. Okay? Let me say that again. Anger is a teacher. Anger is not a life partner. You're not going to marry anger. You're not going to live with anger. But you also are not going to evict anger. Okay? Anger can sit with you for a minute, and you can love yourself through it. And honestly, people who love you should also be able to love you through your anger too. And be able to say, hey, I see you. And I see that you're pissed. And you know what? You just be pissed for a minute. Even with my kids, I will say things like, you know what? You seem really upset right now. Like, how does that feel? You know, like, do you want to shake your fist? Do you want to stomp your feet? Do you want to yell? Do you want to... Like, I almost want to push them to express it in a deep way, because once you really feel like you can get it out, especially with someone that feels safe to you, it's almost like it loses its sting. You know what I mean? I think anger stays with us when we don't just look it in the face and say, all right, I'm going to give you a voice. I'm going to give you a pen. You know what I mean? I'm going to let you write. I'm going to give you a drum and let you drum. I'm going to, whatever way you want to give to your anger to allow itself to articulate itself, I think is really important. The comment here is, Mom has been in the nursing home 9 months now. I took care of her for 10 years. It's really hard to let go. I feel like I couldn't have done more. And so a lot of it is too, you get frustrated with yourself because you feel like you could have done something else. Could I have done more? Should I have done more? And so there's this whole medicine tonight around accepting that what you have done and who you are is enough. Can you imagine if you really internalize that tonight, that what you've done and who you are is enough? For everybody. Because the reality is, it is enough. Who you are today is enough. What you're giving to your family is enough. How you're showing up in the world is enough. The constant back chatter in your mind about I could be, I should be, I could be, I should be, is exactly why you can't get to a place where you feel any peace. Because there's constantly I could have, I should have, I wish I didn't, I think what if I, you know what I mean? Like that song and dance? That song and dance is not the path to peace. That song and dance is the path to, ongoing issues of an inner frustration that you can't move beyond. So just take it from me. You're enough. As you are today, you don't have to change. You don't have to be anything different. You don't have to do anything different. You are enough as you are. You are exactly where you're meant to be. You're with the person you're meant to be with. You're in the situation that you're meant to be in. And if you trust in a divine, intelligent universe, it will move you exactly where you need to go at exactly the right time to do the work that you're supposed to do next. And I believe that with all my heart. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Okay. So I want you to close your eyes, roll your shoulders back. We're just going to do a quick 5-minute meditation right here, right in this place. Like I was saying on Facebook today, it's like, the older I get, the less interested I am in people's facades. If I don't see somebody get angry, I wonder, what does that look like? You know what I mean? If I don't see somebody cry, if I've never seen somebody cry, I wonder, what does that look like? If somebody seems happy all the time and they're putting on a mask and that to me doesn't make for an interesting relationship. I want to see the soul. I want to see the struggle. I want to know the dark place. I want to know the secret. I want to know the fear. I want to know all of that, because That to me is intimacy. So when you share it, it makes me feel free to share. And then when I share, it makes you feel free to share. And that's how we start to cast a net of people who can be there for us. And for the first time, I'll tell you guys, there's a paradigm shift because we're finding ways to create virtual communities that are intimate. Have you noticed that? Like, a lot of the people even in this feed know each other. I know a lot of you. We're building intimate virtual community, which is so powerful because for so long, so many of us have felt isolated in cities and towns and not having friends or not having family close by or whatever. We're finding this really beautiful place to connect with each other virtually in an intimate way. And I think that is a huge healing force for good. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful force for healing. So anyway, aho to that. So rolling your shoulders back, calling yourself into present time. We're going to do a body scan. Are you ready? So what that involves is I want you to start at the top of your head. I usually scan about 2 to 4 inches above my head, and then I scan down to about 2 to 4 inches below my feet into the earth, just to make sure I get a full big picture of myself. And then I scan about 2 to 4 inches out from each of my shoulders. Okay, it's interesting, right? Okay, so I want you to imagine closing your eyes, and I want you to imagine that above your head, just extending out about a foot in front of you, is a screen, okay? Just completely in front of your body, but it starts about 4 inches above your head. And I'm going to ask your guides to show you on this screen tonight any places where there is anger sitting in your body. Anger that is showing up as pain, anger that is showing up as illness of any kind, cellular reorganization or cellular proliferation. Any of the early signs of disease, I'm going to ask your guides to show you and give you clues. And this becomes a very important healing tool, and you can actually do remote healing for others with this once you've practiced and gotten good. If you see something that concerns you in the scan, what I always say is just go and talk to your doctor. Just say, you know what, could you check my shoulder? Could you check my neck? Could you check my right knee? Maybe there's nothing there. But sometimes you do get a clue about where things are showing up in your body, but we're going to release what we can tonight. Are you ready? Okay. So, screen out in front of you, about a foot in front of you. I want you to imagine first looking at the top of the screen. It's almost like a movie screen, like a projector, okay? And I want your guides now to project an image of you onto the screen. I want you to look at the top of your head, which is your brain, and just noticing around the entire top of your head, your beautiful brain, your skull, are there any places where trauma is sitting? And I'm going to ask the guides to show you that in the form of dark spots or shadows. And so guides, please show us where any anger, any tension, any resentment is holding physically in the body. That doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong, by the way. It just means that that's a place you have to release. It means that some kind of trauma has been stored there and that you can go in and release it. So just scanning. Hi, beautiful Alma, coming in from Texas, sending so much love to you. The last 5 minutes of our ritual tonight are going to be sending love directly your way, so I'm so glad that you're here. Okay, so looking at that projected screen, looking at your head, your brain, your skull, down to your neck, your shoulders. What do you see there? And guides, be clear with us. Where is anger sitting in our body? Where is trauma sitting? I'm seeing my right shoulder. Just in it, to me, what it looks like is like a cloudy patch is what shows up for me in the scan. And so you'll start to learn, if you do this exercise a lot, you'll start to learn what signs they show you. And that's true. I have some right shoulder pain, so that is accurate for me. Scanning down over the shoulders to the arms, the top of the arms to the elbows. And then we are down the throat to the esophagus, to the sternum, to your lungs, your ribs, going down deeper into the internal organs, noticing your liver, small intestine, large intestine, ovaries and testes, all of the reproductive organs, kidneys. Just noticing what you're seeing. Don't have to judge it, and if you don't see anything, that's good news. It means you don't have anger sitting in these pockets right now. Lindsay's seeing deep blue in the brain, and throat is red. So interesting, the colors may have meaning for you, and you'll want to start to learn. So we're moving now down from the kidneys, from the reproductive organs, down to the hips, the buttocks, the thighs, just noticing the muscles in your legs. A lot of us carry anger there. We tense up our arms and our hands, so make sure you're looking at the top of your arms, your lower arms, your wrists, your fingers, moving down to your knees, to your calves, your ankles, your toes, the bottoms and soles of your feet. And again, just noticing colors, noticing texture. Sweet Tara has trauma and energy sitting in different places in her body, so you may be seeing lots of different pockets and places. So what I want you to do is I want you to choose one place that you noticed. I'm going to work on my shoulder. I want you to choose, and that's what you're looking for, is just a little cloudy, okay? Doesn't have to be a huge, neon arrow pointing to something. Just a little cloudy, right? Or blackish yellow, Elizabeth. I know exactly what you're talking about. If you don't have anything, that's okay. Kevin says chest pain, but no colors, but very dense energy. So you're more clairsentient, Kevin, probably, than clairvoyant. And so you're going to feel it more than you're going to see it. And so work right there. That chest pain seems to be accurate. And so you're imagining that there's a screen projected right in front of you, and it's your physical form, but it's your guide showing you where anger and tension and trauma are residing in the body. Okay, yeah, so close your eyes. This is more of a visualization. It's not a literal translation of your form. It's your chance to connect with your guides and see an energetic blueprint of you in a way projected out in front of you. Sweet Terry is in pain because of a lupus flare. Many of us who are autoimmune sufferers just want to hug you right now as we understand that. So Athena's got dark wrapped around the spine, through the heart, solar plexus, very much internal. It's interesting when I read that, Athena, what my guides are showing me is like a vine, almost like a winding vine through those chakras. And so let's see if you can clear almost all of that tonight, because it doesn't seem severe, but it definitely, I'm sensing the presence of it too. Arterians, there's so much pain in the abdomen, pelvic areas, past abuse. And so, Leah, just soften into it. Don't try to force it for yourself tonight. Just kind of rest into what I'm telling you. You can always go back and watch again. If you're new to visualization and meditation, it takes practice. And so just enjoy the moment of being present. And you can always go back and practice a little bit later because this is recorded. Okay. So what I want you to do is pick the area you want to clear. You can clear multiple areas if you want tonight. I'm going to focus on my shoulder. And so we're going to call in our healing guides and our clearing guides. And we have guides for this work. And so healing guides, we're calling upon you to reduce pain, inflammation, any kind of disease or disorder in the parts of our bodies that we're identifying tonight with your help. Clearing guides, we are asking you to come through and clear trauma from these spaces in the body on our behalf. And so what I like to imagine is turning that trauma a color. This is what I do. So it looks like a cloudy patch, and then what I imagine is turning it, for me, I turn it indigo blue. So I'm going to imagine turning that pain in my shoulder, because it's very localized, a tight, like a beautiful bright indigo blue. And then what I like to do is imagine turning it into liquid. So just completely liquefying that energy and imagining it pouring out of my body. And when you imagine that, like liquefying these areas of tension and stress, I want you to imagine your entire muscle or your entire nerve system or your entire bone just softening as all of that tension and all of that anger just liquefies, literally. And what I like to do is imagine liquefying it and sending it down through the floor, pouring it down into the very center of the earth, because the center of the earth can hold things that you don't want to carry anymore. So we're just liquefying, literally just taking and pouring out of us anger, tension, frustration, fear, anxiety. If it's in your heart, right? Imagine turning that an indigo blue and letting that pour out of your heart space, down through the floor, through the layers of rock and time, into the very center of the earth. If it's in your brain, if you've been having headaches or migraines, identify where that pain is, and then localize it, focalize it, turn it a color, and then liquefy it. And imagine just all the pain and tension just going right through, right down through the center of the floor, through the center of the earth, and just leaving your body. It's a really powerful visualization, and what it's doing is using element of water because we're liquefying, which is an incredible force of purification. The last step you can do is imagine calling in divine white light or pink light for love or green light for healing, and letting that flood into that space, letting it flood into that shoulder, letting it flood into your heart, letting it flood into that sciatic, wherever you're holding, and just letting that beautiful white light or that beautiful pink light of love or that beautiful green light of healing or that beautiful indigo light of intuition or that beautiful violet light of divine protection, like whatever light resonates with you tonight. And now give yourself a moment to really sense and feel what it means for that pain, that tension, that anger, that frustration, that hatred, that destructiveness to leave the body. Bye-bye. Because it's not yours. One of my favorite quotes is, let me see what Rena's asking here. Or actually, it's Kina. I did what you said to my whole body. Anger was something that I had to deal with a lot and missed some. Yeah, and absolutely. And you can just cover your whole body. If you want, you can just ask your guides to take whatever pain, anger, trauma, and to liquefy it on your behalf and leave the body. You may not even be able to identify the places. You can let your guides do that work for you. And then allowing that white light, pink light, green light, each one of the lights has a different meaning, right? A golden light for self-empowerment, a red light for grounding and protection, or a black light if that makes more sense for you. And then give your body that, what we call the somatic memory of releasing, because that is the medicine, when you finally are able to let it go. And ask your guides to maintain that release. If you have really learned the lesson, if you have worked the energies, if you have received the medicine, then it is time for you to let go of that pain, of that anxiety, of that swelling, of that discomfort. It's time for you to let go if you have already received the medicine of all of that. Lorian said she had a huge hot flash doing this. I'm not surprised. We're moving a lot of energy around in your body, so when we're done, in just a couple minutes, I want you to drink some water or some herbal tea, and that will help you to continue to flush, because we're moving as much energy as you do during a full body massage. Meditation is very powerful, especially when you're doing it in a tight container like this. Okay? Deep breath in. Nice big exhale out. Okay. So we want to say thank you to our guides for supporting us in this work tonight, for helping us to amplify and magnify energies of water for purification and energies of love to help us connect more deeply with a higher vibration. So powerful tonight. I'm so glad you feel lighter. And you can do this all the time. In the morning, you can wake up and just do the quick scan, liquefy any areas of discomfort, call in the white light or the pink light or the green light, and move on with your day. You can even teach your kids to do this. It becomes a healing modality that you can share with others. I love it. Norma says her pain is gone. And Lisa says her back stopped hurting. I absolutely love it. It happens. Oh, poor Heidi ended up in the bathroom peeing, coughing, nearly puking, and crying hard with rose quartz on her heart. Well, she is doing the work, and I am proud of you for doing that work. You are so welcome. So the last thing I wanted to do tonight, we've done a little healing for ourselves. What I would like to do, hopefully you saw my live this week where we prayed for everyone in the southern part of the United States who has been affected by this incredible storm. We have held you in our hearts. We have sent prayers and blessings. We have sent donations to support you. We are holding space for your complete recovery of anything and everything has been lost. We're holding space for your safety, the protection of your loved ones, including your small, helpless creatures who, it's been so beautiful to watch those incredible rescue efforts, because every sentient creature is treated with such respect and love, because every soul is important. And so tonight, can we please just take a moment, calling our energy into present time. And I want you to stretch out your arms from wherever you are. I want you to face where Texas is relative to you, which includes, of course, all the southern states have been affected. There's flooding across many states. So let's think of the entire Gulf Coast, really, of the United States. From me, you guys are due south. And so that's where I am sending my energy. It's really somewhat southeast. And so I'm going to send energy that direction from here. Wherever you are, I would like for you to extend your hands in the direction of the southeast of the United States, but the entire southern corridor. And I want you to imagine sending first as much love as you can to every person, every creature, every structure, every home, every business, every family, every beautiful piece of land, every landmark, every treasure, every item, everything that is sacred to every person in that entire region, just sending love first. And then I'd love you to send energies of healing to them. Sometimes you can imagine these as lights, like I said. So first a beautiful pink light for love. And absolutely, Bend Health Guide is saying, can we also pray for Oregon and all the fires? So we'll absolutely, right when we're done, we'll turn our direction. I will send my energy north with some beautiful calming water energies for sure. And thank you for that. Pink light of love, green light of healing to everyone affected across the entire Gulf Coast of the United States. May every person and creature, every part of their bodies that has been impacted by this disaster, may they be healed in perfect time. May they experience healing in dramatic ways, not just physical, but emotional, healing of their finances, healing of their homes and their ability to return to their homes. And then I'd love you to send a white light of protection to maintain this veil of protection that we're casting in this direction tonight. So we send the white light of protection. You can do the violet flame of protection so that you are safe and you are held, that you will be protected from these elements going forward so that you can rest and recover in peace. And together we say, Amen, Aho, and so it is. And now, can we go north to Oregon? One of my favorite states in the United States. So we're going to send all this energy north, from me anyway, toward Oregon to heal the wildfires that are burning this beautiful land. So I'm sending a beautiful blue light of calming, peaceful water energies to soothe the land, to quench the flames, calling in all of that element of water, and just sending it out in that direction to everyone affected in Oregon, wherever the fires have burned, are burning. We ask for cooling waters to heal the earth, to stop the spread of the fire, to contain it, to bring peace and love and calming energies to every person affected, every creature. Gaia, we hear you. We understand that you are crying these dramatic tears and that you are burning clean what no longer serves you. We ask that you keep us safe in the process. And together we say, Amen, Aho, and so it is. Thank you for that. Thank you for that invitation to hold space for you too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see you, and I'm so grateful. All right, my friends. Well, so much love to you, and thank you for showing up to each other in the feed too. I really, I love that, because it isn't just me holding space for you or you holding space for me. It's you holding space for each other too, and me just holding a container. And honestly, that is always my deepest desire, is to be able to create a container where you can also be a support of loving kindness to the people who are around you too. And so it is. So I'm going to blow out my candle, watching my smoke, which is rising north, heading to you, Oregon. I always watch the direction of my smoke because it tells me a lot about the work that remains to be done at the end of my ritual. And so I'll take that as a sign, Oregon, that you continue to need us, and so we will continue to hold and anchor the energies for you from here. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Join me next Wednesday for Cosmic Comfort. We will continue to do this every Wednesday until you tell me you don't want to anymore, because I love being with you, and if I can be a source of comfort to you, to me that's magic, the very definition of it. So have a beautiful evening, everyone. I love you, and I will see you soon.